Hello, Catamounts. My name is Alexander Hoffman, and this is Chats with Cats presented by WeTV. In this series, we are interviewing some of our amazing student athletes here at Western Carolina University. Today's guest is Madison Schwarz of our women's tennis team. How are you today, Madison?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we'll go ahead and jump into this. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your place on the team.
Yeah, so I'm on the women's tennis team. I'm a junior, and I'm from Adelaide, Australia.
Really cool. Australia.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind, could you share a memorable moment from your athletics career at Western?
I think I was really lucky in my freshman year. We were playing Western Kentucky away over there, and I was able to clinch for the team, which is when you're the last match on, and that result determines whether your team wins or loses. And that was like my second ever match for WCU, and I was able to clinch. So yeah, it's just the team environment during that game and being able to get the win for the team was really cool.
Yeah, that does sound really cool. And with that team environment, something that a lot of our athletes talk about is the family feel within the team. So I kind of wanted to hear your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, our team, we have 6 out of the 8 of us are internationals, which I think is really cool. But it's interesting how we all have very different backgrounds and cultures and that. But we really are a family, and we all come together and support each other. And yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that 6 of you out of 8 are international, because I feel like that's probably pretty unique.
It is really unique. I know a lot of tennis teams have a lot of internationals because it's such an international sport. But yeah, for us having 6 out of the 8, majority of us being internationals is cool. And with all our little quirks and accents and stuff, we all come together really nicely. So
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you stay motivated during the busiest stretches of spring tennis and then the not so busy parts of fall semester as well?
Spring is definitely tough. Yeah, there's a lot of matches, back-to-backs. Multiple days in a row where we have to play matches. So it gets tough on the body especially. But I think it's really important, us things that we do in the recovery side of things, in the treatment room, in the weight room. I think that's the biggest things to keep doing during that part of the season, so that we stay on top and are ready for every single game. But in the quiet sides, the end of fall, I think that's probably the quietest time of our year. Try and do extra work to be prepared for the spring. I think that's really important. But yeah, it's just, spending time with friends outside of the team as well is really nice. And yeah, getting to do stuff around North Carolina, which is, there's a lot of fun things to do around here. So
Yeah, I can imagine very different environment too than Australia.
Yeah.
But kind of flipping over to the other part of this interview, which is a lot more than just you as a student athlete. It's also you as a student. So what are you studying and what made you choose that major?
So I am in communications. I'm concentrating in journalism and minoring in sports management. So when I'm done college, I'd like to be a sports journalist. That's what my mum does, and I think it's really cool what she does, interviewing sports athletes. Guess what you do as well. So I really love what she does, and I'd love to do that as well.
Yeah, sounds really cool. I'd like to be able to do that professionally. That'd be interesting. But yeah, how do you manage your time between academics and athletics?
I think I have a really good group of friends that are outside of my tennis team and outside of my classes that I get to hang out with. I live with a golfer and 2 other girls who are also twins, which is cool. Myself and my twin. So we all live together. And yeah, it's just spending time with each other, not talking about tennis, not talking about academics, but just other stuff. They're really fun to hang out with, and it's good to have a break from other things like that.
Yeah, having that time where you're not necessarily worried about either of those 2 sides does help a lot with when you do have to worry about those things. So yeah, for sure. What are some challenges you face as a student athlete besides time management, and how do you overcome those?
I think it's a very big schedule, especially for tennis. Even though we only have in season in the spring, our fall season is still really big. So there's a lot on the body that you have to stay on top of. You get very sore, and I've had a couple of injuries along the way as well. So just overcoming those injuries and those type of challenges, it can be tough, but yeah, just trying to keep your body good for the spring season is the most important thing, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And then how has being a student athlete shaped your college experience?
I think like being like an athlete as well as a student is really cool. I love having the busy schedule of weights, practice, classes in between. Like I love that routine. I think during the hurricane, it was interesting not having that routine for a little bit. And I did realize that I missed it a bit. But yeah, I really enjoy just having that program set and keeping fit and healthy.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been a common thing, is the routine is very helpful for a lot of student athletes.
Yeah.
Just keep doing the same thing and you get used to it.
Yeah,
for sure. So moving on from not just like the athletics or the academic side to our lightning round, just some short little questions with some short little answers from you. So what is your favorite class you've had at WCU so far?
In freshman year, I had a history of hip hop, and it was very different to my major and my minor. I don't know how I got into this class. It was like the first semester, and I just got put into it. But yeah, it was interesting. It was very different to anything I've done before. So
yeah, sounds very interesting. Do you have any pre-match rituals or superstitions?
I do a bit of a raffle with putting out my drink bottles before every match and making sure they're all aligned next to my bag. So it's a bit of a superstition, I guess.
There you go. What is your favorite sports team or athlete outside of anything at Western?
Well, Australian rules football back home. I love Port Adelaide, so that's my team. But I guess over here, I support the Boston Celtics in the basketball and the 49ers in the NFL. So I love supporting them. And then also the Oilers for the NHL. I've picked up a few teams while being over here. So
well, there we go. Shout out to all of those teams.
Yeah.
And then our last question of the lightning round is, do you have a favorite post-match meal?
I know a couple times on our tennis trips when we go to a nice restaurant, I love getting a chocolate lava cake after a match. It's nice. Bit of a dessert.
Oh yeah, those are good. So very last question to kind of tie everything together. What's the best advice you've received as a student athlete, and kind of in turn, what advice would you give to incoming student athletes?
I think sticking to the routine and, trying to go to class every day and not trying to just skip anything like that. I think that's really important, and that's what I've been told before. So just sticking to the routine, because at the end of the day, like, you want to get the most out of what you do here. So not skipping too many things is important. And then I think also having a good group of friends outside of your team and your classes is really important, so you can have a bit of downtime away from, the tennis side, the sports side of things, and the class side of things. And yeah, they're just a good group of people to make you happy. That's when you do get really, stressed with all the workload and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's something we haven't really touched on much, is like the teams are such a family, but like having people that are not just tennis, because then you're kind of going to be thinking about tennis or like whatever sport it may be.
Yeah.
Whenever you're around those people.
Yeah, I think WCU, we are very close, like with other teams as well. Like I'm really close with a golfer, close with a lot of other teams as well. So I think that's really cool to have at WCU. We're a very close-knit group of teams.
Yeah, I think it helps our, just like in general, Westerns kind of just like that too, in my opinion. And so I've noticed, especially like from the very first interview I did, that was like one of the things that stood out, was just family-oriented with all the teams.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that was our very last question. But before we say goodbye today, I did want to go ahead and point out, this is our first interview recorded since Hurricane Helene. In the description of this video and the interview, we will have a link to resources that WCU has provided to any students that need relief, as well as ways to donate and volunteer to help out with everything in the wake of Hurricane Helene. But thank you for coming on today, Madison. It was a pleasure to have you on. We'll see you next time, and go Cats.